Plant people, welcome back to part 2 of my entire houseplant collection tour. If you have not watched part 1 yet, I will link it in the description. In that part, you will see me talk about every single plant on my Hoya shelf, every single plant on my Vitzjo shelf, which is what you see in the background back here. For this part of the video, we are going to be checking out the plants kind of spread throughout the rest of my house. And then we'll likely be spending the majority of our time in my Anthurium tent, which is where I keep all my rare, expensive, fancy Anthurium. For anyone who is not interested in going back and watching part 1 of my collection walkthrough, hello, my name is Leslie. I'm growing out of Georgia, and my plant shop, Shadow and Space, will officially be launching this Wednesday after the video releases, which will be October the 29th of 2025 at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you will be able to shop all of the plants in my collection. Well, not all at once, but eventually there will probably be some type of propagation or corm or cutting or something from every plant in my collection. Also, in the future, we will be hybridizing all of the Anthurium that you will see in the tent shortly. So if you're interested in seeing what those may look like or interested in potentially purchasing those, please like, please subscribe to follow along that journey here on my channel. And then also I will have all of the information for Shadow and Space official website, Instagram, my Instagram, where I post pictures of mostly the Anthurium as far as what's on my feed. And you will be able to keep track of what is going on over here in Shadow and Space land. I do have a couple of plants that I'm going to show you right now before I flip the camera around and we finish up this walkthrough, just because I want to give you a little bit of context as far as scale, because a couple of these are very, very large, and it's definitely something that you want to keep in mind. We're going to start with an Anthurium, and while this one is not necessarily a super large one, not like the next couple of plants are going to be, this is one of my favorite Anthurium in my entire collection, and we're pollinated over here. I do not know if this inflow is going to take as far as the pollination goes, because this is the first time that I've attempted to hybridize this plant. So we'll see. We're at least going to be collecting some pollen for future crosses, but this is my crystallinum, I want to say Antiqua, but it could be Anticoa, crossed with a Carla Bess, and she's a beauty. Look at those veins. She stays very, very red in the sinus and in the petioles and the backs of the leaves. Let me flip you around here. You can really see that red veination there in the back of the leaves. Absolutely gorgeous. She has very, very kind of like that thin, spidery crystallinum look, which I'm really, really a fan of. I definitely have like a red crystallinum and a couple of those type of crystallinum looks already. So this gives me just a more subtle, understated veining while still kind of giving that intense, dark Anthurium look that we all love so much. This is her newest leaf. This is the previous leaf, which has been on here for quite some time. She still does have a little bit of color in the sinus. It's definitely not as intense as when it initially emerges. Of course, like it does take a little while for it to fade out, but it does fade out eventually. All right, guys, next up we have got Big Bertha coming through here. This is my Philodendron Weeks Red. This is a plant that I have had for maybe 1.5 to 2 years now. And in terms of very large philodendron, this one has really not been too high maintenance as far as like really needing really intense light or a lot of humidity or anything like that. It is not one that you have to worry about leaves getting stuck in the petiole and doing the Cinderella slipper thing. I absolutely adore this leaf shape, how it has those really wavy edges, and it's this very, very sharp arrow look. So she's gorgeous right from the front. Very dark green, lush, shiny foliage, she stays really, really good looking. Like, she doesn't get a lot of edema. There are, to what I can see, hardly any extra floral nectaries, which is a blessing when it comes to a philodendron. However, the coolest part about this, which I will hopefully be able to capture on camera, is the backs of the leaves. So let's see, this is a more recent emergent here. If you can see, the backs of the leaves are this really red burgundy color. However, it's not a solid red. It has this really interesting kind of like brush stroke look where it is red and green. And it looks like somebody has painted the backs of these leaves. When they first come out, I'm gonna have to travel all over the place. This is a freaking joke looking at me trying to move this thing around. I can't even see what is in the viewfinder, so hopefully this is getting my point across. But you can see how intense the red is on the more newly emerged leaves. We have got a new leaf right here at the very top that I don't want to mess with too much, but you can see that red is pretty intense on there. But as the leaves get older, you can really start seeing that more like brush stroke look on the back of it. It's going to kind of move this around and hopefully you will be able to see a look, because I literally cannot see the camera at all. I'm about a mile away from where the camera is set up right now, so we are just hoping for the best with this. This is honestly, as far as this leaf size goes, not nearly the largest this plant can get. It is not getting the most lighting. You'll see where I have it set up over here in just a second when we start doing our walkthrough portion of the video. But it has been a really, really easy going. I do not have it on a moss pole. You can see I just have it tied up with this bamboo stake. So this is one that you absolutely do not need on a moss pole if you want really, really big, beautiful foliage. And just the way that it grows is really beautiful. I'm really a fan of this. Where the petioles are long. It takes up a lot of space. Like, don't get me wrong, you do need room to put this. But the way that it grows, it's not really all over the place. Once you have it staked up, it's just going to grow straight towards the light source. So you only really need room in one direction. Highly recommend, if you have the room for it and you're really looking for just like a really big, fast-growing statement philodendron. This is the last one that I'm going to show you from this angle, just because I am so proud of how big this plant has gotten. I am kind of bummed out about the fact that its variegation is nowhere near as intense as it used to be, and it may even be reverted on the main plant here. But this is my Homolamina SP Java, and I got this plant when it was just a very, very tiny, tiny plant. And I bought it from a seller as a variegated Homolamina spathiphyllum or something. Something it clearly was not. But oh no, it's Schismatoglottis. I bought it as a variegated Homolamina Schismatoglottis. And I love Schismatoglottis, especially the variegated version. And it was like a very, very good deal just because I thought the seller didn't know what it was. And I was like, you know what? It's a really cute plant. I love Homolamina and Schismatoglottis, so I'm just going to get it and we'll see what happens. And it turned out to be Homolamina SP Java, which even to this day is still a pretty uncommon plant. However, back in the day when I got this, it was like $800 for one of these. And I was like, so this is the original variegation. It has some of the most beautiful variegation of any plant in my collection. And I am really sad that we are not getting this variegation anymore. It has, again, that like gray tone that kind of comes through too, that silvery gray variegation, which is just so pretty when you combine that with like yellow and green. But look at how big it's gotten. Like, this is the newest leaf that has just come out. And she's just so big and pillowy and gorgeous. And I do have, there are technically two plants in here. So I have my main plant and then I have this pup that shot out, and the pup is presenting some variegation. Like, this was not its most recent leaf, but the one previous to that. And then its most recent leaf does have like a little bit of variegation on it. And honestly, I'm not sure what the trigger is for the variegation because I have it sitting pretty close to a south-facing window, and it's also getting supplemental lighting from a grow light. So I don't think that it is super light dependent, which is really weird because that is normally the case in most of these types of plants. So I don't really know. I'm just going to give it some more time and see what happens. This looks to me the way, I mean, I've never propagated this plant before, but it looks to me the way it's growing, like I could just chop it. I could behead it like a Dieffenbachia or something, and it may resprout from one of these nodes that are further down on the base of the stem. So I may do that eventually just to see if I can maybe get some of the variegation to come back, because I really, really want that variegation to come back. It also looks like it may potentially be putting out right here. I don't know if you can see that. This little sprout in front of my finger. Another little offshoot. And who knows, maybe that will be the variegated one that I really want. But even without it being variegated, I just adore this leaf shape. It's so pillowy and gorgeous and fluffy, and the veins, and it's not super shiny. It's more of like a matte texture, and it just stands up so nicely and proud and beautiful. And this is one that's like very communicative when it wants to be watered. It's very thirsty. It always wants to be watered, essentially. However, it will start kind of drooping when it's getting too dry. So you do have kind of like the emergency button with this one. But yeah, I would just err on the side of keeping it more moist than you probably think it should be. And it really enjoys that. All right, guys, so we are going straight into the rest of this walkthrough. If you missed the first portion of my video, this is my Hoya shelf that we went through. We have got my main grow space here, which is kind of in my dining room type area. My house is an open concept, so everything's kind of one room. But we did go through all of these plants. Again, part 1 will be in the description if you're interested in seeing those. However, I did miss a couple when I went back and I was editing that. So the first 2 that I missed is number 1. Oh, what are you doing? This is Sully. He does not like for me to pay attention to anyone or anything other than him. He just threw his bone at me. Sullivan, what are you doing? Don't come over here. Oh, God. Anyway, this is the first Hoya that I accidentally skipped. This is the AH001 Indonesia. Just really cool, green, dimply, angular leaves. I also have a Campulata splash. I believe that's what that is in the back. So I did forget to mention that I have those 2 plants. And then over here, I missed this big pokey boy in the back. This is one of the only cactus that I have in my collection. Honestly, it may be the only cactus that I have in my collection, because I think the other ones may be euphorbia. I do not know which one this is, but it has a very green tone to it, and it looks like a little variegated. You can see some striping there, and it gets a really nice purple tone when it gets sun stressed. Sir. And then over here, I have got my little Spiritus Sancti. This one has given me a ton of trouble. It has been probably the slowest growing plant in my entire collection. I've had this for like 3 years now, and it started off with leaves this size, and now we're over here. Granted, the seller did disclose that they had it in a prop box when I purchased it, but I did not know what that meant at that time. So I did not appropriately acclimate it. I potted it a million times, probably in the wrong mix. And I think we're finally to a point where she's happy with her conditions, because these are the biggest leaves that she's ever given me. And she is doing fine. Like, she's growing, her roots are fine. She's just going really slow. She is swelling a little bit right here in the petiole, so I think we are about to get a new leaf. But yeah, I forgot that one. And then I also forgot my little Anthurium blue velvet back there. Not really much to talk about with that one. Anyway, so we are going to pick up with the other portion of the house. So we're going to be moving this way. Man, you can see it is like the gloomiest rainy day today here in Georgia. So the lighting is not the best. We're going to do what we can. So I do have, first of all, a couple of staghorn ferns mounted up here. These are just the Netherlands, I believe, which is like the typical basic platycerium that you'll find in any big box store. If they have platycerium, it's probably going to be this one. Down here, I have got a couple of Hoya. So this is my Acuta intervariegated. She does have some edema on her leaves just because I can't really keep up with like the watering correctly in these hanging pots. I mean, they're doing okay and they are growing, but they do get edema sometimes. However, this is another really underrated Hoya. This is not rare by any means or really even uncommon. I think you can find this on most online shops and things, but she's really cute. She gets these really pink tendrils at the very top and her variegation is so pretty. And the leaves can get pretty big. Like you can see that leaf is fairly large, but she's so pretty and she looks so good hanging here. She's kind of winding up that macrame hanger. And then we have got my Hoya Bertonier intervariegated. This is the one that they call sea stones at the big box stores. So yeah, just beautiful variegation. In part one, I showed you my non-variegated Bertonier that is about to bloom. And this one is just so pretty. So it has all the same really cool things about it. Its growth pattern is really beautiful. Variegation is really beautiful. The texture of the leaves is this kind of like suede-y, felty feeling. And then the variegation actually comes out, especially if you have it in bright light. I don't think you'll be able to see it very much today because it's so gloomy, but it comes out this kind of like pinky color, which is really beautiful. I'll insert, if I can remember, a photo that I took of this when the pink was really prominent, just so you can kind of see a little bit more. You can see it a little bit over here. But yeah, she's so pretty. And then once she gets established, she's a pretty fast grower. And then I've got my Hoya Wayetii variegated. I got both of these at the big box stores, just a tiny little plant, and they have grown into this. This is another one, just really beautiful variegation and pretty growth pattern. And then up here we have got my Scindapsus exotica. One of the most beautiful, even though it's like the basic standard kind of Scindapsus outside of the Agracius, however you say that name, you know, it's like the plain green one with the little silver speckles on it. This is the most beautiful Scindapsus to me. Like that silver splash, man, I just cannot get over that. Like it looks so good hanging up here and trailing down. Gorge. And then right here we have got my variegated bird's nest Anthurium. So this is Anthurium hookeri variegated. And I've said this before, but something that really surprises me about these Anthurium is they actually sun stress. So you can see this is a fresh new leaf and it has a very creamy yellowy white variegation. And this is a south facing window. And the more light they get, the more of this pinky tone they'll start to develop. And again, it's kind of cloudy today, so you can't really see the scope of this, but she does just get really pink, and she's so pretty. Again, this just like the variegation on this is just absolutely gorgeous. Like that fresh leaf. Oh my gosh, so pretty. And like the older leaves, even though the variegation, like how it's kind of dark and muddy looking over here, I still really love that. Like I just think that that is just so unique and pretty. And then this is my Plaubonii variegated. This one is gorgeous, but it is just really difficult, probably just because it is so highly variegated. This is its most recent leaf. This is another one that gets really roughly, but like in an upright growth pattern. So it grows like this, but the leaves are just crazy wavy. And it has been growing its little growth point here. I recently moved it over here into the south facing window because I just can't figure out what that one wants from me. Hello, Sully. Would you like to tell us about this rock fig? What do you think? What do you think of this? What do you think? Do you like it? What would you rate it out of 1 to 10? He's thinking really hard. Oh, is this a positive? Is this a positive? Ow. Okay, yes, let me finish the video. He's so upset with me. Like filming, yeah, I know. Filming like 3 days straight is just literally his worst nightmare. This one, oh, I really need to water this. I was wondering why it looked kind of wilty over here. I definitely need to water this. This one's actually pretty thirsty. But this is I can't remember the like botanical name for this, but it is also known as a rock fig. And and it's really gorgeous because it has this kind of like blue tone green with hot pink veins. Yeah, just absolutely gorgeous. She is like super floppy right now. I really got to water that. And then we are back to my variegated bird's nest Anthurium. This is Genmanii. This is one that has really thick, kind of cardboardy leaves. Really pretty. I've got my little I can't remember the name for this one, Bonplandii. This one I'm trying to reroot in some sphagnum moss because I've just had a really hard time with that the entire time that I've had it. And then we have got my Renaissance, which is probably the least variegated one. But again, just really pretty green, lush leaves with that little splash of variegation. Still really beautiful. And then into this corner, we have got, what is this? This is a Rhaphidophora decursiva, I believe, the variegated version. And this one gets these really weird mutated leaves because of the variegation. So it's really interesting. This one, I did accidentally break the top growth point off, and it shot out a couple of additional vines. So she's getting kind of full. And then I have got my mother plant, Pink Princess, and move all these leaves. This is the other one that has pretty good variegation. You can see how pink she is all the way down to the bottom. She will not go into caterpillar though. It's driving me insane. I accidentally broke off her last little leaf over there, which is what that nub is. But yeah, just will not go into caterpillar for me. I feel like she would look so much better if she would. And then I have got the Homolamina SP Java that I just showed you. So she's sitting over here. This is the south-facing window, supplemental lighting. So I don't know what her deal is with not wanting to be variegated. And then over there, there is the Philodendron Weeks Red. See if we can kind of see that. Yeah, there we go. You can really see the underside of the leaves here. So pretty. Definitely looks like painted on. You can see how cool it looks. And then down here, I am regrowing my Monstera aurea from cuttings just because she had gotten so insanely tall and I just couldn't deal with it anymore. I also had her like partially up a moss pole, and I was like, you really do not need moss poles. Like they'll size up on their own once you give them some time to reach maturity. Like you really do not need to leave them on moss poles. So we're just going to regrow her off of a moss pole. And I'm seeing how these cuttings do because I do have more cuttings of this that I will probably sell, assuming that these do really well. And the thing about this Monstera is I've been really, really lucky in that it has not browned really significantly on the yellow variegation. I mean, it's not like the most highly variegated aurea that I've seen, but they do often have issues with that yellow variegation browning a lot. And I've not really had that experience with this one. So hopefully those will be some decent cuttings to send off to new homes. This is my Monstera Seriana that I'm also trying to regrow from cuttings. She is definitely not doing as well. She's really unhappy, but I do have more cuttings of that as well, my security cuttings. So we're going to see how she does. This one leaf looks kind of okay. If this one does well, I'll probably sell the other cuttings. If it doesn't do well, I will probably use those to regrow the plant myself. And then this is another one of my Schismata glottis. I do not remember what variant this is, but I have recently seen these in the big box stores kind of popping up here and there. It is a plant that can be a little finicky, so it does not like to dry out whatsoever. It is kind of prone to like spider mites and thrips, so you really have to keep your eye on it. I did not, which is why my other Schismata glottis that I talked about in the last video is over here on the rehab because it was absolutely infested with spider mites and I did not catch it. But yeah, really beautiful plant. Just do not let it dry out and keep an eye on the pests. And then we have got my Monstera Thai constellation, which has not been the same story as the Monstera aurea. She has been browning quite a bit, unfortunately. I was trying to get her to get some more light from this grow light right here. This is the Glorium, G-L-O-R-I-U-M grow light. And I freaking love this thing. Like, this is a super duper solid grow light. If you want one, especially that's tall and has like the flexible heads that you can move around. This comes in black and white. And it is just really, really good. It's one of my all-time favorite grow lights. But I was trying to give my Monstera some more light, but this Weeks Red keeps being a light hog and won't move over. But those are her two most recent leaves. And we do have a new leaf coming out down there. So she is doing fairly well. And then down here we have got my Spathiphyllum Domino. That was another big box find. It is just getting to the point where it's growing pretty well, and it's actually giving me some pretty decent variegation. This is a really, really, really pretty and fairly fast growing variegated peace lily. This is just another one that you really do not want to underwater because it will brown. And then the last plant that I have over here is going to be my Anthurium moodianum. And I just moved this over here. I previously had it on top of the Vitzjo shelf up here, like right where that Monstera addisonii is. And it did not grow. I had it up there for a really long time, pretty much since I've had those shelves. And it just wasn't happy. So I'm thinking it was getting too much light. So we're going to see how it likes the lighting in this area and if it will start growing. And then if we move this way, I know I'm going to forget this one. Up here, I'm not going to like pull this plant down, but this is a Homolamina Stardust, and it is just a plain green Homolamina. It does have these kind of like spotty bits of variegation, but it's very, very subtle variegation, and it's got red stems. It is really pretty. It's just been, I don't know, it hasn't been my favorite. So it is the top of the refrigerator plant right now. And then moving into the living room, I have got these philodendron growing up the wall here. I think I'm going to train them to kind of go this way. This is the philodendron erubescens, which is the non-variegated version of things like the philodendron pink princess, white knight, all of those. This is kind of like the standard version of that plant, and it is the red emerald, which is the one with the red stems. There's also the green emerald, I believe, which is the one with the green stems. And I've got two separate vines of that plant growing over here. It does actually size up to be a pretty large plant, but this plant gets almost no light over here. It only gets light from the windows and like grow lights and stuff on this side of the house, which this is an east-facing window. That's a south-facing window. And then I've got another south-facing window that's open all day over here. So that is all the light that it gets. It doesn't get any kind of grow lights or direct lights or anything, which is why the leaves are so small. But I do not mind that at all. Like I just have it here as kind of like a bit of green, and I think it looks really good, even though the leaves are pretty small. And then I did also plant some cuttings of my Florida green in here, which is just a really easygoing philodendron. Like they really do not care. Again, the leaves are pretty small just because it is not getting much light whatsoever, but it's definitely still growing. And I'm totally fine with smaller leaves growing up here because honestly, they just get so dusty anyways. If they were bigger, I would have even more issues with that. And then this is my, I can't remember if it's a caladium now or a xanthosoma. I remember it as the xanthosoma magnificum or Lindenii or something like that. And I got this from Home Depot a really, really long time ago. And honestly, this has been a pretty easygoing plant for me. Like she's just chilling over here. She has her little, not really that powerful grow light. Really has not been that fussy for me. And I just like the way that she looks like right there. So that is where she's going to live. And then moving right over here, I've actually got my Philodendron gloriosum hanging up here because my idea is I'm just going to let the chunk bit of the stem, because these are crawlers, I'm just going to let her crawl out of the pot and hang here and let all the leaves go forward. And in my head, that is a pretty good idea as of right now. And if I hate the way that that turns out, I will cut her up and propagate her. That is her new leaf that she just gave me. So she has been pretty happy. I really love this variant of gloriosum. It's just so beautiful, really dark with those silvery veins. Beautiful plant. And then I've got a Anthurium over here. This is Tim's Black crossed with Cinnamon Swirl. Again, one of my early Anthurium purchases. And I do like it, but it's not one that I'm like overly concerned about. So it's fine living out here outside of the tent. And then I have my one ever sport variegated find that I have ever found at Lowe's or any big box store actually. And this is my money tree. And it comes out with this really pretty variegation, but it does fade over time to plain green, which I actually kind of like. And it's just so pretty. There's this new leaf that's just came out. Really pretty variegation. You can see on this one, it's kind of toning down some. And this one, honestly, this one has not been happy until I moved it further away from the light. Like right now, I kind of have it in between because it is getting light from the south-facing window, but it is partially obstructed. And then also it doesn't get super intense light because of the way my house is shaped. It just gets kind of like, I don't know, it's not like super intense direct south-facing light, if that makes sense. And I have another one of my variegated spathiphyllum or peace lilies over here. I believe this one is like the Sensation or something. It has these really big, thick, paddly leaves. And the variegation on this one is so, so pretty. And again, I just really like the stature of those and the way that those look over there. And then in this window, we have got a couple of my epiphytic cactuses, so jungle cactuses. This is the fernleaf cactus, and this is the golden orchid cactus. I have, unfortunately, been underwatering these. This one really does not like to be underwatered. You can see she's having some browning on her little fronds, petioles, stems, whatever you call them over there. And then this one, which is typically a prolific bloomer, has not been blooming whatsoever because it has been upset with me because I've been underwatering it. And then we have got my orchids over here. So I guess we will stand on this couch so that I can see everything. What is this? I've got name tags in here somewhere. Oh, maybe I don't. Okay, so I think this was a rescue from Lowe's. No idea what that one is. And then this one, this is an exciting one because it's about to bloom. This is a Pathiopedilum venustum crossed with Sib. It's the colored form. This is one that has bloomed for me previously, and it has the prettiest blooms. Like Pathiopedilum blooms are just superior to me. They're known as like the lady slipper orchid or something because of what the blooms look like. So pretty, but they also often have this like really cool pixely foliage. So I will be posting a bloom update at some point over on my Instagram if you want to follow me over there and see what that bloom looks like. This guy right here, this is Majestic Tresses Midnight crossed with Warshia Gary Dickey. I have no idea. At this point, I have no idea what any of these blooms look like anymore other than this one because I remember this one blooming for me. But yeah, no idea what those blooms look like from when I originally purchased it like a year ago. This one down here, Something Meadows crossed with Jumpin' Jack. And then we have got, this is another, what are you? This is another one with really cool like digitally variegated leaves. Like how cool is that? Ooh. This one is dry again. It dries out so fast. Oh Lord. Okay, I'm just going to leave this right here rather than trying to pronounce all of this. Why will this not focus? Where's my camera? There we go. In case you're interested, that's what it is. And then this is an unknown Phalaenopsis that I got from Kroger. This one actually blooms a lot. Really cutesy. This one down here, what are you? Oh, this one I definitely got from Lowe's because it has a better grow tag. I am surprised that sometimes they do have the correct name tags in them now. Before, they would literally never have them. Like, you would just have to guess. I mean, that could just be my Lowe's. Again, I live in rural Georgia, so that is not really surprising. And then this one over here, I really love this one. This is Something Hildos. I know that once this starts blooming, this is a consecutive bloomer. Meadenhall Hildos. This is a consecutive bloomer, so it will just consistently bloom. I have not gotten to that point yet, but it has put out these two little, what are these, pseudobulbs? Whatever you call them. Although these leaves are really small. Maybe it doesn't like the higher light. I may end up having to move that one. And then this little guy, Dowiana V. aurea. Not much to look at. This is a really pretty one. This is a Phalaenopsis schilleriana. Can't remember the variant, but this is the one that has like really silver leaves that are spotty, beautiful. And then this one is a kind of silvery green. I think this leaf is yellowing off, but she's got a ton of roots, so I don't know why she would be unhappy. Like her upper leaves look fine, but that lower leaf definitely looks like it's yellowing off. Just another unknown Phalaenopsis that I got from Kroger. We're in my bathroom now, and I've cleared out almost all of the plants in here. Like before, all of these shelves were just jam-packed with plants. But the remaining plants in here, I've got my Dieffenbachia panther. Gorgeous plant. This is one of my original house plants that I've actually kept and loved this entire time. I don't see this one very commonly. I do see it randomly pop up in nurseries every now and then. And then I've got an Aglaonema. This is the something ghost. It's the one that's like really silvery, really pretty. I just recently repot both of these because they were growing so crazy out of their pots. And then I have got a mixed pot of Scindapsus up here. I know I've got a green veins, a silver lady, I believe, and some type of variegated one right here. And then I have got my Jade Satin Aurea variegated Scindapsus over here that I did have growing up a pole. But again, the poles are just not worth it for me. Like they're just too much maintenance. And this one has just started regrowing from cuttings. This is another rehab Schismatoglottis because my giant, gorgeous Schismatoglottis Wallachii, that's what it's called. I had the biggest, most beautiful one in the entire world, and it just really started going downhill. I don't know what happened. It was getting all these like crusty tips and stuff. Looked terrible, so I just downsized it and kept a couple of these little sprouts in here, and some of them are not doing well. Some of them are starting to put out little new leaves, so hopefully at least a few of those will hang in there. This is another Scindapsus. I think this one is like cloudy something, cloudy sky. I'm not 100% sure. This is one that I found at Ace Hardware randomly. And then this is my Philodendron Golden Dragon. This is not the standard variegated form, but this is like the modeled version, which I really like. It does get kind of, again, those kind of like mutated, funky leaves when it first starts growing just because of the variegation pattern, but it does kind of even itself out when it gets bigger. And this is just one that I restarted from these 4 cuttings. Those are those original leaves, which is why they're yellowing a little bit. These are all the little baby new leaves over here. And then up top, I have got a little ficus here. I want to say this is like El Dorado or something. I think this is one that I got from the Green Escape a really long time ago. This is a variegated one, really pretty. And then we have got my second Monstera Thai constellation. This one is the one that was gifted to me when I made a purchase from an online seller. Like it was a free plant that they included. And then this guy is my other variegated Philodendron bipennifolium, the horsehead philodendron. I need to put some kind of support up in here because it's growing so crazy. But I was hoping that this would be one that I could take propagations for eventually once it starts sizing up a little bit. And then I have got my Philodendron Campii Lynette, which I absolutely adore. This is one of the most beautiful philodendron to me. Like I love the leaf shape, the growth pattern, everything. It's just kind of hard to fit places because it is a little bit sprawly, and it does also get spider mites all the freaking time, which is why I moved it in here, which is a shame because I love to look at it, but I just cannot deal with the spider mites. So I did just do like a super serious spider mite treatment on this one. So I think it's okay for now, but I just thought this spot would be a little bit better because it's not really close to a lot of other plants. And this philodendron, I've never had an issue with pests on that one ever, ever, ever. So I thought this would be the perfect place because this guy never has pests. So it cannot get pests from this one most likely. And I've not really had pests on these either. So this is the area that it would be most likely to be clear of pests. So hopefully things will go well. And I would love if it kind of started, these kind of have a habit to trail like out of the pot a little bit, I've seen from other people. So I would love for it to kind of like crawl over the edge of this and hang down. I think that would be really pretty on the shelf to kind of have it hanging over here. Be really cute. We are on the way to my office to check out the Anthurium grow tent. Just wanted to touch on a couple of plants that I have over here. So this is another of the same type of Platycerium that I had mounted in my dining room, Platycerium Netherlands. And this one gets not a lot of light whatsoever. This is a north-facing window, so it doesn't grow a whole lot. But honestly, I like the way that it looks like that. So even if it doesn't grow much at all, That's totally fine with me. This is a neglected pothos that was living upstairs in my husband's office. And I moved it downstairs just so that I could try to do a little bit better. We do have another yellowing leaf. But this is my Mandula and marble queen pothos. This is what's left of them. And it still looks okay. Like, it's still growing fairly well over here. Doesn't get a ton of light, but I can keep up with the watering a lot better down here. And then we are going to go into my office. So we have got my grow tent. Let me turn the light on here, see if that makes much of a difference. We have got my grow tent, which we are going to be going into. And then over here is where I keep all of my prop bins. As you can see, it is a lot of prop bins to deal with. And then we've got some plants over here that will be for the website restock. And then we are going to get right into the grow tent. Alrighty, here we go. So let me zoom out here. That may be the best option so we can get a better view. I've not been in here in a few days just because I've been trying to edit these videos. This is a Cunha crossed with a red vein dark phoenix. I have this one, and I also have the opposite, which is this one. This one is a little bit warped because it has this kind of like spotty mottled variegation that comes through. I recently cut off all of its extra leaves just because they were looking really crusty, and this one has finally started to reestablish its roots from when I got it. So I think it'll be fine with one leaf. It is flowering. I have no intention of pollinating this one yet, just because it does only have one leaf. But I have been collecting the pollen off of here that I will be using in future hybrids potentially. So yeah, this one, absolutely gorgeous. Like I said before, I'm just absolutely obsessed with anything Cunha. Like that texture, especially when it comes through on this. I don't know what it is, but the Cunha red vein dark phoenix cross, any combination, whether the Cunha is the mother or the pollen donor, looks absolutely incredible. And I do have a dark, one of the seeds that I showed you previously in the first part of the video is I have some seeds from Max Aeroids that is a dark phoenix Cunha. So I'm pretty excited to see what that will look like. What are you? This is either a Fort Sherman or a Ralph Lynham. I'm not sure which one. It put out this really long, cool looking leaf with these kind of like turned in lobes, which is really unexpected because none of its previous leaves gave an inkling of it being this long. But yeah, really pretty. And then we have got a chocolate crystallinum hybrid that I got from Rooted Rarities that is starting to exhibit that like kind of like forked venation in the ends of the leaves. Really gorgeous. This is a recent leaf, and it is about to put out another leaf down here. So it is very happy in the tent. And then, oh, this one's got a new leaf. This is a Circus Peanuts crossed with a pap. A ray pap. Circus Peanuts crossed with a ray pap. And I got this from Anthurium, and it isn't open, but he was pretty sure it was selfed. And it does look very like his plant that is the Circus Peanuts pap. Yeah, that emergent's so pretty. And then this is one of my favorite plants. This is my Circus Peanuts Carla Blackier. So beautiful. Look at that leaf shape. Oh my gosh. The veins. Ooh, it's gorgeous. Gorgeous plant. And it does have what looks like to be a new little leaf starting to come out here. Then we have got, this is a more recent one. This is one that I got from Ecogenera. It's a Pulcachense. Where's my tag? Pulcachense. This is one that has like more compact growth, but it's really, really thick. And I really liked the texture. The texture is a really, really big deal to me. Like anything Cunha, Debile, this guy. It's why I also like a lot of the green non-velvet species Anthurium, just because the texture is really cool on those pretty often. And then I've got some little seedlings in here. I cannot see really well, so hopefully you can see what's going on. These two are also Circus Peanuts hybrids. This one is Circus Peanuts Black Dress that came from Planty Weeb. This is a, ooh, not knock that guy over, move it over a little bit. And then this guy is a Circus Peanuts Hoffmanii, I believe. I think this one is going to be really, really nice. This one is from Nice Plants, Good Pots. And just look at that. That looks very Circus Peanuts to me, that previous leaf. Like the texture and everything. So I'm very looking forward to that guy growing out. And then this is a really cool one. This is one that I also got from Anthurium. This is an Alto Fulminense. It has been giving me a little bit of issues, but it just put out a new leaf, if you can see in there. Really gorgeous. It has a really interesting leaf shape when it gets bigger, kind of like a blue toned leaf. This is a really pretty one. This is a Zara 33, I believe, crossed with this Home Sweet Home. And it keeps giving me these warped leaves because I recently repot her. But look at that emergent, like that, gosh, that venation is just so hot pink and crazy looking. Absolutely gorgeous specimen. I've got some more Cunias over here. This is from Scott Cohen. This is his RA, RA number 4 crossed with OG2. I've also got a Cunia, a smaller one that I got from NSC Tropicals that I'm looking forward to breeding with. And then this one has a new leaf. Let me see if I can get back here to turn it around without damaging it. Look at how gorgeous that is. What are you? I think this is a Cunia Raypap Cunia. So it's the opposite cross. That one is also from Scott. And then let's see, what do we got up here? This is exciting. This is a Dorito clone, the Dorito port clone that I got from Max Aeroids. He has a really, really nice example of a Dorito port. So I was able to pick this up in one of his purges. That one has given me a new leaf. So that is exciting. Where can I put things? That is the question. Where can I put things so that I can show you these other plants? This is a happy update. So this is my Bigfoot basilisk that I got from Cartel Dawn, gosh, at least a year ago, maybe longer than that. And I had the hardest time with this one. It's just really, really finicky. I also did not rehab it correctly after I imported it, which is really, really important when you do bring plants in from another area of the world. Like, they are not, used to our climate, and it's important that you do acclimate them appropriately. I did not do that. However, it has finally started growing again, so it's given me this leaf, which looks really good. It does have wavy leaves, which I really love. So that one is gorgeous. And I have it up here next to my Mutualus crystallinum hybrid, but this one looks super duper Mutualus. And I thought that would be an interesting combination. If I wanted like a really, really roughly plant, the Mutualus cross with the basilisk, might be able to get some interesting venation with that also. These leaves are yellowing a little bit. These are all of their import leaves, but it just gave me this new leaf. So hopefully that will come out pretty well. And then let's see, what else do we have? We've got some of my King of Spades stuff back there. This is another import from Cartel Dawn. Down here, this shelf is a lot of my Black Widow Michelles. These two are both from Brendan over at Buzz Plants. And I would love to do a combination of these two just to see what happens. This is definitely my favorite one. Like the venation on that one and the shape of the leaf. It's so pretty. And we do have what looks like a new leaf getting ready to come out. This guy right here is an SKG Silver, SKG Gray, crossed with Black Widow Michelle. And that one is from Tazula. Is this from Tazula? Yeah, it is from Tazula. Okay. That one's really pretty. This one's got really interesting texture. All that funky stuff from the leaves is just a pest treatment that I had done. But this one has a really interesting texture to it. It's rooting really well. So I'm hoping I'll get a new leaf from that one before too long. And then again, just some cool Black Widow Michelles. Got that one. I've got some unknown Black Widow Michelle hybrids. Really cool venation, kind of pillowy. This one's really pretty. And then this is another Black Widow Michelle. I think this one originally came from Brendan also. It's got some cool venation on that one. And then over here, I've got a lot of my Dresslery and BVEP and things of that nature. This one is a BVEP port crossed with a dress that I got from Fontanimal Plant House. And this one has got really gorgeous venation and a really pretty sinus. Like the color of that sinus, it's just out of this world. This is its newest leaf that it gave me. It did get kind of scraped up. I think just from me rearranging things, I've just got to be more careful. And then this is a variegated dresslery. You cannot tell a whole lot right now. You can see it like a little bit in this area. But when it's emerging, it does carry a lot of variegation. And then this guy, this little blue guy down here, this is my smog crossed with stripy that I talk about all the time from Anthuriums. Gorgeous plant. This is really pretty. We have got an emergent on my, what is this? This is a dresslery. I can't remember which ones. This is another one I got from Fontanimal. So this is a narrow dress crossed with just one of Fontanimal's dressleries. And the reason I liked this one so much was look at that previous leaf. Like, it's so skinny. Is that interesting? Then we got that leaf, and then this one is still kind of long. But oh my gosh, that like warm golden emergent. So beautiful. And then we have got this guy right here. So this is a dark and handsome cross with red velvet cake. And this is like one example of the cross. This one's kind of rounder. Really pretty veination. Dark, dark, dark leaves. But I also have this one. This is my other dark and handsome cross with red velvet cake. Let me zoom in. And this one is one that's like very, very long and skinny and daggery. And then we'll just move back up top here. This is one of my, finger in the camera. This is one of my all-time favorite Anthurium. How gorgeous is that? This is a Carla chocolate crystal that I got from Seattle Tropical Guy on Palm Street. Oh, she's so pretty. Her previous leaf back here. Also beautiful. She has a little bit of root rot in here, which is concerning, but she is growing new leaves and sizing up and doesn't seem to be going downhill. She's got new roots in there too, but I might check on that after a while if I don't see a lot of new roots coming in there. This is a cool one. This is a Carla PM3, which is from Paul at Understory Oasis, crossed with a Carla Debile, or Debile, however you want to say it. Again, with the texture, the Debile just gives the most incredible texture to its hybrids. Ooh, again, I have nowhere to put things. And then we'll just take a little peek back here. This is an unknown hybrid. I bought it off of somebody on Palm Street, and they said they think it's a Carla Cunha because it has Cunha petioles. But I don't know. I mean, it definitely looks Carla to me. And then we have got a new leaf on this guy, which is another Carla hybrid. This is, what are you? Oh, this is a Carla Cunha. Really pretty. Just looks Carla though, honestly. And then this is a really nice Carla. This is Carla from Tazula Lunar Moon. And this is a double-headed one, so I get these really pretty twin leaves every single time. I love this Carla. I think this one is so, so pretty, and the emergents are so warm. Gorgeous. And then we've got some other Carla crosses up here. I don't want to go through every single one of them. I've also got my FTG crystallinum, which is not getting very narrow, but it's getting very long. Like, she's very, very long. I've also got, this one's pretty cool. This is like a blistery red spider. Got a couple of cute variegated Anthurium back here from Cartel Dawn. It's another variegated one. This one's more minty. And then I'll give you a quick look of these lower shelves. Again, I've got to stop myself. I cannot go through every single one of these plants. This is a pretty one. What are you? This is a Pap red spider crossed with a dress. This is the first leaf that it gave me in my care, and I just love how the lobes have this little wave to them. So cute. And then in this area, I have a lot of my like red spidery type hybrids. Emergent on that one. It's so pretty. We have got this guy that just gave me a new leaf. This is one a lot of people have asked me about this one. And I do have a propagation of this available that is not quite ready. Again, just send me an email if you're interested in that, and I can put you on the wait list. This is a really cute silvery Giddy Eye that I got from Seattle Tropical Guy also. Yeah, just a lot of forgetti type hybrids over there. This is one of my favorite kind of crystallinum-y type hybrids. I think I got this from Moss and Hayes. And this is a Jack of Clubs crossed with a Dock Block, crossed with a No ID Stormy Self. And she has just put out this absolutely gorgeous emergent. Love the veins on her. And then a lot of my little smaller plants over here. This is one of my all-time favorite plants in my entire collection. This one I got from Scott. It is a Carla Splendidum. Definitely has the Splendidum texture to it. And she's been growing really steadily. When the leaf first comes out, it has really, really, really super duper pink veins from the Carla. This is a really pretty variegated one that I had gotten, but it did lose. It's kind of losing its variegation. It barely has any on that new emergent, so hopefully it won't totally go away. I've got a couple of my Carla Blackier in here that have given me new leaves. And then let's see, what else do we have? Another Cunha. This is a Cunha Ace cross. This is Cunha, what are you? Cunha something. Cunha Red Crystal, which is rehabbing. This is a Pap Carla hybrid. She is so dark and pretty. I've also got some miscellaneous Debile hybrids back here that are settling into the tin. I was trying to grow these in ambient and they were really not having it, which is not a surprise if you are familiar with that plant. It's kind of crystallinum hybrid. This is my Cunha from NSC Tropicals. Yeah, a lot of, again, I just, honestly, I feel so overwhelmed when I come in here. I'm like, what do I even talk about? Because I can't talk about every single plant and I love every single one. So what do you do? This is another one of my favorite ones. This is one that gets, again, with the big plants, the Shoddy Autumn. And this is a velvet clone that I got from Fontanimal Plant House. They had acquired somebody's collection and were offering this guy. And I had been on the lookout and I was able to score it. And I can't remember for sure where they said this was originally from. I almost want to say it was like from Rory or JV or something originally. Like on that original tag, they were saying something about their handwriting. They knew that's who they were from, but I cannot give a definite. I have no idea what was said in that live. I like blacked out after I saw this plant. Yeah, and the velvet one is a little bit more uncommon than like your typical glossy green one. And it just gave me this emergent. And look at the freaking size of this emergent. I am scared. I am scared of how big that leaf is going to get. Let me give you an example. So like normally, it's crazy that I cannot find an example and I have this many plants. But like say this was the hardened off leaf size, the emergent might come out like this big. And then it's going to expand and expand and expand and grow into this. Can you imagine the scale? This is going to be, I'm going to have to post this somewhere so we can follow along with this because that is a very frightening emergent size. I'm just going to say that. This is another cool one. This got really pretty, colorful emergence. This is Purple Mystique crossed with Red Vein Dark Phoenix from Eddie Prenoto. I don't know if you can see the coloration on that. It's so pretty. Very thick. Very thick texture on that one. We've got so many plants, y'all. We just can't go through all of these. Just give you a little pan over. I've got some of my like silvery crystallinum stuff over here. I probably will not be keeping all these plants also. I'm just waiting on them to get a little bit bigger so that I can figure out who I want to keep and who I'm okay with letting go. This is a cool one. This is my chocolate crystallinum. Who did I get this from? Oh, I got this from Scott. Yeah, you can already see that venation is already looking amazing. Like that is going to be an incredible plant. I got a really cool variegated red spider back here. There was an offset from Rad Roots variegated red spider, which is gorgeous. The variegation does give it kind of like this warped shape, but it looks really cool. Not a ton of variegation on that new leaf though, which is kind of disappointing, honestly. And yeah, just a lot of little seedlings down here. We got my Dot Block F2, which is really pretty. We got this Pat. This is a cool one. It's really long. All right, y'all. I honestly think that is probably going to be it for the grow tent. Because like I said, I can stand here and literally talk about these plants all day long, but I'm getting tired and I have asthma, and honestly talking for this long has really left me out of breath, so I've got to take a break. But good news, if you are interested in seeing a lot of my Anthurium in more depth, I did recently do an entire Anthurium collection, kind of like walkthrough, show and tell type deal, and I will link both part 1 and part 2 in the description of this video, so y'all can go back through and watch that if you wanted to see a little bit more of the Anthurium. But I will leave this with one last pan through. And of course, if you have any questions about a specific Anthurium, just leave me a comment with a timestamp, or you can send me a message over on Instagram if you want to take a screenshot and just circle the plant. And I'll be happy to give you the information as far as like where I got it, if I have any props or offsets or anything available if you're interested in buying one. I do not mind at all if you want to take a screenshot and send me a message. Like, that is no sweat off my back to give you information on where you can find a plant. If I don't have a prop available, just let me know. All right, guys, that is going to be it for this video. Thank you so much to everyone who has made it through my entire houseplant collection walkthrough. I know that I have an absurd amount of plants. However, the amount of plants that is right for you is the amount of plants that you can comfortably take care of and still enjoy the hobby. So this is manageable for me at this point, especially with my grow tent taking a lot of the pressure off of me, because grow tents really help way more than you think they do. Hope you guys enjoyed these videos and that I will see you at our official website launch at shadowandspace.com this coming Wednesday, October the 29th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you liked these videos and you want to see more content like this from me, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is where you're watching this video right now. It'll mean so much to me, and it helps the channel and the shop so much. And I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.